The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet, with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube. And now, thanks to our friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to cable systems, and we're in 12 million households as a result of that. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten. Well, let me just tell you what we have on tap today, and then I want to give you a quick programming note. There was a suicide bombing in Dimona in Israel. First one in a little over a year. Hopefully this is not the beginning of a trend. But I want to talk about that specifically and suicide bombings in general. We're going to have a report in just a second directly from the area in Israel where this bombing occurred. I just want to tell you that tomorrow we have two very special broadcasts here on Paltalk here in Paltalk Studio A. At 11 a.m. New York time, we will be bringing you live the ticker tape parade up the Canyon of Heroes. For the uninitiated, that's Broadway in New York City. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Giants, who weren't even supposed to go to the Super Bowl, defeated the New England Patriots, and there will be a ticker tape parade that you will be able to see live right here in Paltalk Studio A. Our regular program of News Talk Online will be held at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 6 o'clock New York time. But it's Super Tuesday here in the United States of America as we select the candidate for President of the United States. And we will, after closing shop, as we always do at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be reopening to watch the returns as they come in. After New Jersey polls close at 8 p.m., New York polls close at 9 p.m., and California, obviously, being on the West Coast later. But those are the three biggest states of the bunch of states that are involved in tomorrow's Super Tuesday primary, which could determine definitively who the candidates will be on the for president on both the Democratic and Republican sides of the ticket. For those of you joining us from outside the United States of America, this is important to you as well, because obviously who we here in the United States select as president will be forming foreign policy that will affect you directly or indirectly. Today's bad, sad news: suicide bombers strike in Dimona. It's the first Palestinian suicide bombing in more than a year. Two Palestinians wearing bomb belts walked through a shopping area, of course, to try to get more bang for their buck in the Negev town. The first blew himself up, killing at least 3 Israelis and wounding 5. The second was knocked over by the blast of the first one, and the medics ran to help that guy, and when they started to cut his clothes away, they spotted the second belt. A cop then shot that one dead. You know, so many people are excited to step up to the plate and announced that they were responsible. The Al-Aqsa Brigades, which is an armed wing of Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas's Fatah faction, claimed responsibility for the attack. Fatah is the moderate wing of the Palestinian leadership, and now Hamas is claiming that they were responsible for this. Bully for all of them. You know, I guess everybody wants to claim responsibility. Oh, the Palestinians were celebrating in the streets. There are pictures that Reuters took of children handing out chocolates and flowers to drivers as they pass by. And when one of the dead suicide bombers' mom was interviewed, she started crying at the loss of her young son's life. And the male members of the family admonished her for crying because we should be celebrating because he's going, you know, to paradise. How convoluted is that? Well, Zachary Barneis lives and works in the area from not too far from where today's suicide bombing occurred. He's a CPA by trade. We are not giving his exact location to protect him. Zachary, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you for taking time out to join us. I know it's Eastern time plus 7 hours there, so this is way past your bedtime, because I know how you CPAs are when the streetlights go on and you go to sleep, because you have to have your brain functioning and full faculties when you're punching all those numbers in the morning. Not good. You've gone a year and almost a month, I guess, without a suicide bombing, and now this. Are you concerned that this may be the opening of a new salvo?
Well, first of all, it's not that there have not been attempts at suicide bombings. I don't call it suicide bombings, I call it suicide murders. Let's put it that way, because that's basically what it is murder. However, the security forces, because of the much aligned fence and also information that has been gathered, has been able to stop attempts at suicide bombings. This is the first successful one, let's put it that way. Are we concerned? Yes. There's a lot of concern because of what happened in Rafah, on the border. It was opened. There's a lot of flow of people and arms back and forth. And the concern now is that the Negev is probably going to be a target because it's just over the Sinai border. And the feeling is that there are a lot of terrorists who did go into Sinai with terrorist munitions, and they will try to have even larger attacks than what happened in Dimona.
Well, as we know, talking about fences, the fence between Israel and the Gaza is not the only fence that went up. There's a fence that separates the Gaza from the Sinai, which is Egypt, and they broke through that fence, and there were confrontations between the border guards and the Palestinians trying to make their way into the Sinai. Now, there's some question about whether these guys came through the Sinai or whether they received material support from Egypt. Paltalk was asking that question in text in our virtual auditorium on Paltalk, whether we know whether these suicide bombers, homicide bombers came in through Sinai or not.
They do not know yet. There are a number of theories. One of them is that they came directly across the border, headed directly to Dimona, and did what they did. There's another theory that says that they did not go directly to Dimona. They went to Hebron, picked up the bomb belts from there, and then traveled down to Dimona. If anybody is familiar with the Negev, it would be difficult for them to go directly to Dimona or even